Hey guys, I'm Glitter Valkyrie, and today we are playing for Legendary Elincia. She is my favorite Tellius character, and I have been waiting years for a legendary form, so I am super excited to pull today. And so we will talk about this banner as we go, but I just want to get to pulling, so let's go ahead and get started. Well, I was hoping that we could just snipe red today, but obviously that's not always going to be a choice, and I do feel like there is some decent value in colorless and maybe in blue, so my hope is that we can just stick to reds, but we do have some decent backups if we need them. But what I'm really hoping for today is lots and lots of copies of Elincia because I would love to start a merge project. She is like one of my all-time favorite Fire Emblem characters, and any form of hers that we get in Fae I am going to want, and this version is no different. I feel like they totally did her justice, and we are definitely going to use a spark on her. But I'm also hoping that in our path to the 40 that we can maybe see Chrom today because he is my favorite rearmed character. He's also one of my all-time favorite Fire Emblem characters, and I feel like the rearmed form is just fantastic to use, but also has so much value with all the skills that he brings. And so really those two are the ones that I'm hoping for today. And of course, lastly in that color, we do have Hinoka, and I do want her less than the other two, but she also has some amazing fodder, so I would not be upset if we get her. And so really that's mostly what I want on the banner. And so I think that we can go ahead and answer our viewer questions. And as always, if I did not get to yours, I'm so sorry. I'll try to do it in a future one. And if you think of a question you want to ask me, just leave it in the comments with, oh my goodness, Lapis. You know what? I am merging her up, so I'm happy with this. But yeah, if you have a question that you want to ask me, just put it in the comments with #question and I'll add it to my list. And also if I keep missing yours, please let me know because I'm not the most organized person and I do miss things. So if I keep missing yours, just give me a heads up. And so let's go ahead and answer our first one today, and this comes from Dago. And they ask, what do you think of Dorothea? And also, what characters that you were indifferent to have you grown fond of thanks to Fae? Okay, so as for your first question about Dorothea, I love her as a character. I think that she has the most lovely design. I think she has a great personality. She's so much fun, and I love so many of her supports, especially with Ferdinand. So yeah, I think that she is a great character, and I honestly cannot believe that her regular form is not in Fae, and I'm really hoping that she shows up in the future. So yeah, I think that that's pretty much my opinion on her. And then as for your second question about characters that Fae made better for me, honestly, it's usually kind of the opposite, unfortunately. So I would say that for a lot of characters where I'm pretty neutral on them, if I keep pulling them in Fae and I don't want to pull them, it just makes it like so much worse. And so most of the time it does not work in a character's favor. But with all that said, I do think that there's one character that, oh, that is Nina. You know what? Honestly, she's not one of my favorites, but I do like her new art, so that's fine. Okay, let's check IVs. And she's minus attack, but that is fine. And we will just keep going with this very lucky question. And I was saying that there is one character that I think meets the criteria of this question, and that would actually be Cordelia. She was a character that I liked when I played Awakening, but she wasn't at like the top of my favorites list. But then when I played Fae, I feel like she had a lot of representation in the early years, or maybe I just paid attention more. And then I went back and I played Awakening again, and somehow in that second playthrough, it was like a totally different experience, and she became one of my favorites. And it was maybe just that I was paying more attention, but I thought she was so well written and, I don't know, just relatable. And I think that she's a fantastic character, maybe one of the best in the cast. And so maybe Fae had a little bit to play in that. I really don't know, but I feel like she's the only character that would kind of meet that criteria. But thank you for that great question. And let's go ahead and answer our next one, and this comes from Strawberry Shorty. And they ask, why do you dislike Charlotte? Oh boy. Well, I'm going to start out by saying, standard disclaimer, I know so many people love the character, but unfortunately she is not one of my favorites. And it's for a couple different reasons, one of which is her design. It's not for me. I know that this is silly, but I don't like her hairstyle, and hair and design are kind of important for me, so that's kind of how I feel about it. And I feel like the bigger thing with her, though, is her personality. I just don't like the whole, like, faking that she's weak, and I know why she does it, like, I totally get it, but I just don't typically like characters like that all that much, and so that was not great. And then I also dislike a lot of her supports. I just feel like a lot of them are not all that interesting, and there are some that are just plain weird, like her S support with Laszlo is super weird. And so for all those reasons, she is not one of my favorites, and I am sorry to all the Charlotte fans. But thank you for that great question. Okay, please be Elincia. That is not Elincia. Okay, so let's back out and we can go ahead and answer our next question. And this comes from Christopher McKay. And they ask, what is your opinion on La Signora, and would you pull for her if she is revived? So unfortunately, she is not one of my favorite characters in Genshin. Oh wow. You know what? Hinoka has amazing fodder, so I'm happy with this. And we get a blessing. Let's check IVs. And she has plus HP minus defense. I am so happy with that. And we will just keep going with this very lucky question from Christopher. And I think that I was talking about La Signora not being one of my favorites. And I will say she does have a very nice design, but what she did to Venti was unforgivable to me. He's one of my favorites in the game, and she was horrible to him. So that set everything off on a very bad foot. And then the whole Inazuma arc happened. And honestly, I hate saying this, but I was not sad about what happened. And so, yeah, for now she's gone, but I do think that there is a possibility that she could be revived. And I have to say, like, she would have to have the best character redemption arc ever for me to want to pull for her. And I am fully aware of the Crimson Witch of Flames thing and her whole backstory. It is very sad. But at the end of the day, she kicked Venti, and he is one of my favorites, so I do not like her very, very much. But thank you again for that very lucky question. Okay, please be Elincia. Okay, smoke. It's Ray. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this next red, and we can answer another one. And this comes from White Lordle. And they ask, in Genshin we have Aloy as a PlayStation guest character. And if Genshin launches on a Nintendo console, which character would you like to see? So I don't know if this is ever going to happen. I feel like they were talking about it being on Switch like years ago, and here we are. But if they were to do that on Nintendo, I don't really know. I feel like Aloy did not fit very well into the whole world of Genshin, but if they did it with Nintendo, I feel like maybe Link or Zelda would fit pretty well because, I mean, there are a lot of similarities to Breath of the Wild, so I feel like either one would fit pretty okay. But thank you for that great question. And let's go ahead and answer our next one, and this comes from Kuito, and I'm sorry if I said that incorrectly. And they ask, have you played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? And if so, what is your favorite base game track and DLC track? So I have sort of played Mario Kart 8. And I say that because I did buy the game a while ago and I did try to play it, but I really did not enjoy my experience, and I played maybe like 10 minutes of it and then I just dropped it entirely because I'm just not a big racing game person, and I think that I was just bored and wanted something different to play, and it was just not a good experience. So I really can't speak to what I liked because I played all of about 10 minutes. But thank you for that great question. Okay, let's see if this is Elincia. Or Crom, I would totally take him too. And we get Ashita. Okay, so let's back out and we can go ahead and answer our next one. And this comes from Hammy. And they ask, what are your thoughts on the following characters? Kaze, Robin, Alphonse, Sather, and Shamir. Okay, so starting off with Kaze, I love him as a character. I think that he's definitely the best of the two brothers. I love his design, I love his personality, and I think that he's like totally a contender for S support in that game. So yes, I would say big thumbs up for him. And then the next one being Robin. I really like Robin as a character. But what I will say is I don't like the way Robin has been handled in Fae, because for some reason, like, they totally typecast the male and female versions, and it really bothers me that the female one is always Fawn. Like, I don't know why it's always just her, but I feel like it's very unfair, and I wish they would do something different in the future. And then next on our list is our favorite bench lord, Alphonse. And actually, he is my favorite of the Asker trio. He's not like on the same level with like an actual Fire Emblem lord, but I really do like him. And then next on the list, we have Seither, and I do like her design very much, but I feel like the whole baby debacle just totally ruined her, so she's not one of my favorites. And then lastly on our list, we have Shamir, and I would say that I'm pretty neutral on her. Like, I don't dislike her, but she's not one of my favorites. But thank you for that great question. Okay, fingers crossed this is Elincia. Okay, smoke. And we get a Henry, just in time for Halloween. So let's back out, and we can go ahead and answer another one. And this comes from Yume Berries 120. And they ask, what are your opinions on Faye underrepresenting Lara Shell and Sarah? So to answer that, I will say that I understand it, but I don't love it. So it's a little bit different for the both of them because they are kind of different characters. So for Lara Shell, I understand why she doesn't have more alts because she's technically not the main character. But with that being said, I feel like she's a very beloved, well-liked character generally, and I know that she would sell if they put her on more banners, and so I feel like it would be a good decision to give her more alts. And that's not just because she is my favorite character in all of Fire Emblem, but because I really do think she would do well. So yes, I feel like she does definitely deserve more representation, but she has had a few. But I feel like for Sarah, it is a very different situation because she's definitely a more minor character in FE7. But with all that said, I feel like she's a lot of people's first healer because that was their first Fire Emblem game. And there is so much nostalgia there, and she is a character with so much personality, and yes, she is very divisive. I know a lot of people don't like her, but she's one of my all-time favorites, and I really feel like she deserves at least one alt. I think that it's very nice that she has her Resplendent, and it is great, but she really deserves to have her own, like, different alt, and so I'm really hoping in the future that's something that we can see. But thank you for that great question. Okay, please be Elincia. Okay, smoke. And we get a Seliph. Alright, so we hit our 40, but we have to pull this other red. It's required. Okay, smoke. Oh no! Oh my goodness, that's the wrong one. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, what are the chances? Oh my, I guess I should have been more specific. Okay, let's check IVs. And she's plus attack, that is very, very good. And you know, even though it is the wrong one, all Elincias are friends, so I am fine with that. But now we can go ahead and spark for the correct one. Oh gosh, I am so happy to see her after all these years. And we get a blessing, and we get the thing. So, you know what, I think that this is a good place to end it for now. We may have only gotten one correct Elincia, but I am happy that she was able to come home. And if you guys are pulling on this banner, I hope you get everything that you are looking for. I also want to end this with a big thank you to everybody that submitted questions. I so appreciate you supporting the channel, so thank you so, so much. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.